Planet Zooers, welcome back to the Houston Zoo Recreation Zoo in Planet Zoo. That's a lot of zoo. Anyway, just a little flyover, and you see the new building at the beginning. Stick around to the end. I do have a neat announcement to share with you guys about who's going to help me with some habitats in this zoo for primates. You may have a guess, but stick around to the end. So I'm grabbing a workshop item. I had left it there to see who had built it so I could give that shout out. But I didn't think about the speed as I got in here. I've used this before, so it is a great workshop item. I found it by searching for vents, I think. But I do have it favorited. If you go to my workshop, you'll find it in there. And for the foliage here, apparently I pronounced that wrong. Anyway, I can't say it. For the plants, I'll just stop using that word. For my plants here, I just copied over what I had going on the other side. And we did have a few small details to work out inside of here before I get to the new habitat, which is our Nile Monitors. On the map, it actually said Komodo dragons, but that map is outdated. I may have to fix that. I may have to put some Komodo dragons. So I'm using some of my fake trees that are on the workshop. I'll put a link once the video has been up for a little bit of that and the workshop item I will download or upload of the completed house with the habitat if you want to use it in your zoo. So I'm finishing off my implied habitats in here. I did not want to put every single thing to be a habitat, so I was using some fake, not fake stuff, but anyway, you get what I mean. And then we're also going to do a implied snake habitat. I do need to create my fake snake that go in there. Haven't done that yet, but I do need to also put in a couple more doors that I noticed are missing before I put this on the workshop. So it'll be up later tonight, maybe within an hour or two of the video going up. But anyways, so I'm just going around and filling in each of these implied habitats with foliage and just making them look pretty as if something did live in there. Some of them are bigger than others, and just getting really creative with hiding away different plants to make it look like a nice little homey place for a critter or a small lizard, a frog, or a snake. The Houston Zoo had a lot of really neat different animals, different reptiles in the Reptile House. It was a fun place to be. It was really packed in there, but also probably because it's air conditioned and it's hot in Texas, especially in Houston. It's humid, so it is a good place to get out of the heat. Trying out different trees to see what I could kind of fit in here, what I hadn't used, just to get a little bit different look in each spot. And then now we're gonna work on the implied python habitat that they have here. They have two really large pythons right here that live in this habitat. I forget what they were called now. A reticulated python, I believe, is what lives in here. And they had just a real nice rocky space for them that was real tropical looking with some water features. So Google Earth did not have great lighting with these pictures. It is kind of dark in here, so it was really hard to see what it really looks like in there from Google Earth. And when I visited the zoo, by the time we made it over here, my phone had died, so I don't have any of my own pictures to go by for reference, but I do remember how it looked for the most part, with how they had a lot of rocks and the little water feature. And I remember where each snake was when we visited. Hello, Ruby. How are you today? She was being really quiet until my husband made a noise, got up, did a couple things, and now she's decided she wants to be squawky. At least that squawk is bearable. So doing my most favorite thing, full of sarcasm there, rock work, woohoo. I feel like I've been doing rock work for weeks now between the zoo and the St. Louis Zoo that I live stream. So putting in some water effects just to get, they were a little more rough than I wanted them to be, but that's okay. I thought it still turned out really pretty. And so just finishing off some plants here. Once we get done with the implied habitat, we'll go do the Nile Monitor habitat, which may actually be Komodo dragons. I'll have to double check that. If it is, I'll make the change later on. I do need to make another visit to the zoo before it gets cold and get some images for different things to add some small details throughout the zoo on some of the habitats that are upcoming, and make sure that I've got things in the right place. They're doing a lot of remodeling in the Houston Zoo, so some of the maps are not correct and Google Earth isn't always correct. They're getting ready to open the Galapagos Island area. I'm glad that tree made me come up here because I have all these plants sticking out of the roof. I had to fix them, and we'll get rid of the fake tree set and grab this one and put it over here. Again, the fake tree set is on the workshop. So I did remember to put in these doors, but I did forget to do the ones that go into certain service areas, like one directly across from here. We'll see it in the walkthrough. And now we're going to start for our Nile monitors. So I just did some plaster here, plaster walls, I can't talk, with some glass in it, put some log on top, and continued that little log theme. I lined them up right here so that I could make sure they were evenly spaced before I moved them to the back of the viewing area. I really was happy with how this viewing area came out. I really like the little viewing, what do you call that, sunshade, I guess, the cover for the guests. I thought it came out really good. It looked like theirs kind of had, that plastic kind of tinted colored material that you'll use in some of these kind of sun deck areas so that the rain can't get through, but the light can. So I had to just go with glass, and it needed 2 pieces, and I hate overlapping the glass. It always leaves that line. So I was trying to make sure to cover up where they met. And then when I put this first one down, I didn't realize I wasn't kind of above all those pieces. And when I took a second look at the resource image, all those beams are actually kind of on top. So I did edit out me going along and selecting each and every one of those to get them in the right spot. And then I had to move the glass back just a little bit to keep it from sticking out of the top of the habitat. And originally I was going to make this a little smaller, but I did have to make it bigger for the Nile monitors to be happy in here. So I ended up backing up the habitat a little further with that brick wall and getting my null barrier in for them so I can, see how they like their space. So I wonder if the Komodo dragon actually would fit in here better, because they didn't require, I don't know if they require as much water, is what I mean to say. In the Houston Zoo, whatever's in here only had a little water pool kind of in the front, in the middle, that ran back just a little bit. And now maybe they had more water in the back where you can't see, because it did look like this animal had quite a bit of space that was not visible to the public. And then they do have a little raised seating area in the back for them, the people. Anyway, so I was trying to keep the water kind of how I saw the habitat was. And once I got the animal in and checked their traversable terrain and their requirements, one animal was fine. So I was like, okay. And then the second one got there and I was like, ooh, I really need to make this a little bit bigger. Especially if they had babies, then they're going to get a little upset with their space. So I went ahead and made that water a little bit bigger, which, of course cuts down on the land space that they had. So I had to make sure they had plenty of space, which is kind of fine because it looked like when I looked through the windows of this that they do have some very private space in the back, that it's kind of covered up, but you could see where they could bring them in and out of the support area back there. And then I just grabbed this because I love it so much, and I thought it went really well with what's happening in this habitat and the way that it looked from the meerkat habitat. So this is the back wall over in the meerkat habitat, and duplicated that all through here just to get the not brick, good grief, the rock wall feel. Man, my brain just took a dive with words. I couldn't find the right words and kind of blocked all that off. I could have, I guess, made that turn right there. I'm not sure if I do or not. Yeah, I do. There it goes. And originally I was going to keep it a little more open, but I did decide to see, well, hey, you know, how small of a space can they actually walk through? And so I went ahead and brought that all the way over and then kind of blocked off the little holes so you can't see where they come in and out of for that spot back there. And then I went ahead and put in some more rocks in the ground areas so that it would better resemble how the Houston Zoo had theirs set up. But again, theirs just had water in the middle, and it was all navigatable land space on the left and the right. And I kept putting that pumpkin in areas where I couldn't get to its base, so I kept moving it around for its little reset home, whatever you want to call that, the little Planet Zoo silver thing. And went around with this group of rocks to block in the pool and give it that rock feel around the side. Adding in the education here, I just put one main education board on the wall, and then I put in the speaker, of course. And now it's time for the roof. The roof went through a couple of different renditions. I was trying to kind of go with what I saw from Google Earth at the top, but I couldn't find the pieces to quite make it work, or I could have built it, I guess, but it did have like the bubble plastic look to it, but I wanted it to be see-through, so I didn't want to use the square ones that are darkened out where you can't see through it, which is unfortunate. I wish there was the clear version of that. So originally I was going to try to use the triangles, and you can see I'm trying to work out how to make this work. And then I realized that the bubbles are really coming through the roof, and it looks kind of funny. So I do end up filling it all in, and then I do take away the middle part of the concrete roof, because I'm realizing here those big bubbles, I could have used all the small ones, but I really liked the big ones in the middle. And then also I could tell they weren't quite lined up the way I wanted them to be with each other with the snap. So I did go around and kind of fix them, and then redid where they were. Watching it now, I could tell that wasn't going to cover, but I couldn't remember how far out I needed to go once I took all of it off, in real time. So I'm sliding it back and forth until I get all the triangles how I wanted them. And then I decided I'll drop this little piece down just to cover the edge of that roof. I mean, the wall there that's not brick on top. And then bring the roof down, and that way I only have to worry about the small bubbles not peeking through on the small triangles. Originally I picked kind of a light yellow right here, and then I decided it was a little too light, so I'll go back and I'll change the color on that in a minute to a little bit darker. And then I put in some little TVs here. I skipped the moving them when I put them in, or what do you do if they're tying them into the advertisements. I'm really struggling for words today. We took the dogs to the dog park, so maybe my brain is just a little tired. I don't know. But it did cover up the curb to match the area in here so that it wouldn't be that funny yellow. It'll be the darker color along the curb. And unfortunately, there is not a sculpture or a statue for the Nile Monitor. So I just went with a different one right there in a moment when we get there. And continuing going around and covering up that curb so that it matches my color scheme and it's not that funky yellow. And then I'm going to pick out this guy, which I think is a gharial, is what it's supposed to be. But I felt that it was fine. It'll work for my Nile Monitors. It says, hey, there's a lizard over here. That was really what I was going for. But I had really hoped that they would have the Nile Monitor. I feel like every animal should have a statue to use and, some kind of in-game art to put on the walls or whatever and be able to decorate and say, hey, here's the animal that's here. But not every animal does have one, unfortunately. I think there's a lot in the reward statue area, which some of them are really great and I really like them. I just don't use them when I know I'm going to put something up on the workshop, which eventually all of this will be, because it does lock it down, even in sandbox mode. If you do not have that reward statue, then they can't even open the file. It locks it up. I found that out the hard way and had to remove it or put up a different version so that that statue isn't a problem for people who haven't done certain parts of the career or it's not for them. I still haven't done a lot of the timed ones. I find them to be really stressful. I'm a slow builder and I struggle with them. But anyway, so we've got it all done. We're going to walk through, and at the end of this section you will get a little information about where we're going with the zoo, a little different than last time on what's coming next. And I'm going to loop you guys in on who's going to come help me with a certain habitat, or 2 or 3, maybe 4. I don't know. They seem to really enjoy the zoo since I gave them the file to work in, and requested to do an additional habitat, which I'm happy to let someone else have fun in here. I've had a lot of fun creating this, so it is a little relieving to let someone else have a go. Here's the meerkats that I took that wall from that you saw in this speed build. And I always like to stop by here. Apparently the guests do too. I just love watching the meerkats. And today we're going to walk around this way. And we're going to come at the reptile building from the side, from the other side, instead of walking down that path. We're going to say hello to the elephants today, see how they're doing. Oh, there's one laying down. Excuse me, ma'am, you're in my way. Okay, there we go. There's the elephant. And then I love that bug house that's from CSH Plays. I hope I said the letters in the right order. Sometimes I get them backwards. My apologies if I did. But I do love them. They're great along this walk. I'm super excited to get those in here a couple episodes ago. And I need to put in some more foliage back here so you can't really see that building. I am a little bit off scale and not quite on point with how the map is laid out, but that's okay. This walkway is actually a little further back. It's in the middle of the 2 elephant habitats versus at the end. But this is the way it kind of landed, so that's okay. But this does come at the end of this path, so this is all kind of where it's supposed to be on this side. So we'll check out the habitat after we go into the house and look at what we've added. Sorry, the Houston weather is trying to change. It's messing with my sinuses, so I keep having to cough. My apologies. Anyway, so here we go. Added the reptile sign on the outside. Finish off the plant work out there. And then this is the implied snake habitat. I do still need to build a snake. I just haven't done it yet. I'm kind of not sure how I want to go about that. I have some ideas though. And then I didn't put anything in here like to imply a bug or an animal. This isn't a bug house though. It's a reptile house, but I didn't put anything in them on those implied habitats. I just did the plant work so that, most of those things, you're looking really hard for them. I remember when my husband and I and my son went to visit the Houston Zoo early on in this project, really searching for some of those creatures that live in there, and some of them would be like right in front of your face. You just miss them the whole time. So these are super fun houses to go into. So I am missing a door over there to the right. So I'll need to do that before I put it up onto the workshop. And there is lighting in here. I did showcase that on the last episode for nighttime. I do need lighting for the rest of the zoo. So if you do download this, I don't have a lot of outside lighting, but the inside building does have it. So there's the large keeper hut to take care of all of the animals in there, and a very large staff room as well, because I did put in quite a bit of staffing for this habitat. And so here we are from the entrance. I need a door here too for the staff at the back of the Nile Monitor habitat. I don't really like how that roof came out. I got yeeted. Tejacam was like, oh, you want to be on the roof? And I don't know what's happening here. There's a wailing, flailing prey sack. I need to go find it, move it. It's glitched. I don't know what's going on right there, but I thought I would share that with you guys. I got a good chuckle. And then right here we have kind of the private area for the Nile Monitors. So we're going to go back through here and go back into the service area, which runs all along. I did walk through it on the last episode when I finished most of the house. So we do have more implied habitats as you walk through here, and then that completes the loop of the Reptile House. So we'll go over and check out the Nile Monitors from this way, and I can probably move some of these transformers now that I have some buildings in. I may not need that one anymore. I had put them in to power stuff for the reflection pool over to the right that's a little bit lower down. So here we are. Here's the Nile Monitors. Like I said earlier, I may need to change them to Komodo dragons. By the time we got over here, my phone had died, so I have no pictures of my own, and I relied on Google Earth to get the feel of this habitat here. Even though that's not how the roof really is, I really like it. I'm super happy with how their habitat came out and how the viewing area came out. I think it's just wonderful. I feel like it really got the essence of how the real one looks, especially right here in the viewing area. Oh, Ruby, sweet noises. So anyway, I just really enjoy this view right here and looking through. It is a little hard to see them through the glass, so we'll take a peek again. And there's that wailing, waving, crazy prey sack over there to the right. I'm going to have to fix that when I get back in the file to do the blueprint. And here we are with our sneak peek, just a little. So the announcement is that we will be having the guest builder of Beezy. If you do not know who that is, go find them on Twitter. They make some amazing stuff, and they're most known for gorilla habitats. So Beezy is currently working on the gorilla and chimpanzee habitats, and is also going to help out with some more. So make sure that you subscribe and don't miss out on those episodes, and may the RNG odds be ever in your favor.